This is a little video about entering numbers into Excel. So I have up on the blackboard here, on this column here, we have numbers that you might see if it were written in a textbook, just math. And here's how you might enter them in Excel. And there's just a few guidelines that I kind of want to talk about today. So here's a number, 1.2 times 10 to the minus fifth. Here's one way to write it into Excel, 1.2, no space, e minus 5. The e minus 5 accomplishes this, everything here, times 10 to the minus fifth. So this is the preferred way of writing that number in Excel. It's quite efficient. Here's an alternative, 1.2 star 10 caret parentheses minus 5. That's how you'd have to do it if you were approaching it this way. In fact, you'd have to do one more thing, which is you'd have to put an equal sign in front of that expression in Excel, because that's an operation, the multiply, and so that's what you'd have to do. So it's a lot less efficient, and this approach also, in this case, it would give you the same answer as this, but sometimes it's a bit dangerous, which is, I'll show you an example of that. 2 times 3 divided by 4. Here are two possibilities. Now, in both of these cases, since there are operations, you'd have to precede these in Excel with a little equal sign, so I'm going to put those in there. But here's another, which one do we prefer? Parentheses 2 times 3 divided by 4, or just 2 times 3 divided by 4? And the answer is, this is the preferred method. The reason is, those parentheses are unnecessary. Whenever you have unnecessary stuff when you're entering numbers or formulas into a computer, there's the possibility of generating errors. So that would be the best way of writing that number. Here's another example, 1 over 4 times 10 squared, 1 over 400. Here is one possibility. Which one do you think would be better here? Well, in fact, both of them are not quite right, because since I have an operation, I need to put an equal sign in both of them. Well, on the outset, this one looks a lot simpler than this one, so I kind of tend to prefer this one, 1/4e2. There's another problem with this one, which is not only is it longer, it's actually wrong, because what Excel will do is it will take 1, it will divide by 4, and then multiply that entire result by 10 squared, which is the wrong answer. So this is the one that we want, and this one is actually just flat out wrong. Okay, so there's only one more piece of the story that I want to tell you about today, which has to do with what we call significant figures. So I'm just going to put up some numbers, and you're going to think about how many significant figures there are. And when you're writing stuff in numbers in scientific notation, it's really, really straightforward. 1.2 times 10 to the minus fifth, that has 2 sig figs. Okay, and there they are, 1.2. The more more specific you are about this part of the number here, that determines the number of significant figures that you've got. So if I had written this as 1.20 times 10 to the minus fifth, then that would have 3 significant figures, and so on. Now, it doesn't really matter if you're typing numbers into Excel. If you wrote 1.2 e minus 5 or 1.20 e minus 5 in the same way that we had done here, because Excel doesn't care about trailing zeros. The idea of significant figures is just to convey to somebody who's looking at this number how precise do you think you know that number. Yeah, and that's about it for right now.